There we go. Here's my surprise face. We're live. Yay. Welcome to my channel. My name is Margaret Pinard, and you are here for the chaos, obviously. We're kicking off the BlackAuthortuber Readathon today with a great panel. I'm going to pop up the books in a second, and then I'm going to pop up the faces. So get to know these book covers, get to know these faces. To help us start this Readathon off in February, we have Chelsea C.M. Lockhart, whose book is called We Are the Origin. So pop that down, get familiar, lovely color, admire, admire. We've got Tiffany T.L. Russ Lifestyle with Come Find Her. Yes, Kindle Vella, admire, admire. I'm just pointing everywhere. That's okay. And then we've got hopefully, we're having some technical issues, but hopefully we'll have Peter on to talk about his book or his range of books, Whose Fault, Kismet, or Impediment. That is the one I popped into the Readathon spreadsheet. So he may talk about this one. He may talk about another one that may catch your eye. But that is what is on the docket today. And now I get to welcome my authors. Yay!
Hi!
Welcome, everybody. How we doing?
Doing pretty good. It's Sunday. We're thriving.
Yes. End of January. Are you feeling charged with New Year energy? Are you feeling like you've had a good rest and retreat kind of month?
I will say I feel charged with energy because she was not resting in January. So we're just going to keep the momentum.
Okay. All right. How about you, Tiffany?
Probably a combo of both because I was forced to rest from getting sick. And I picked January to kind of be my slow month to kind of look at my sleep patterns and my, a lot of different things. December didn't end the best for me. So I wanted to kind of take January pretty slow, but she's ready to go because even this morning I was doing my February background and I've already been in my February Notion tinkering around and figuring out my brain dumps and all my different tasks to do. So I'm very excited for February.
The vision boards. That's great. We love that. All right, so I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves and your channel on YouTube, as we're all AuthorTubers here, and then I'll bring Peter on in just a second, and he can maybe go in the middle when we make sure his sound is on. So Chelsea, you want to go first?
Sure. So if you guys have never seen before, my name is Chelsea, and I write books about Black girls who aren't all that nice. My book, We Are the Origin, is out, and it's the first book of a fantasy series about a group of assassins who have to work together to save the gods in the realm from destruction. And my AuthorTube channel is called Written in Melanin. That's the name of my company. And it's all about things that are Black and bookish. And I share my writing journey. I started vlogging this year, which has been fun. We'll see how long that lasts. A couple of reading updates and just general things related to talking about what's going on in the writerish world across platforms, because there's always drama happening in the bookish community. So yeah, that's me. Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me on, Margaret.
Of course. Very excited. Very excited. Yes, the Written in Melanin brand and the Melanin library that you've got is pretty amazing. I know
Thank you.
Lots of other people are trying to sort of drive traffic to indie books, and every little piece helps. So yeah, may it get big.
So slight plug, since we are talking about the Black Readathons coming up in February, if you guys are looking for books to read, you can always check out the Melanin Library. That's the site that I run, and it's an online database of books written by Black authors.
Can you hear me?
All the authors are Black, and you can pick whatever genre you want. There's over 2,000 books on the database, and it's still growing. So slight plug for that, melaninlibrary.com.
Yes. All right. I'll put that in the chat in just 1 second. Peter, we did hear you. Are you in? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh. Now we can't hear you.
I heard him a second ago.
Why can't you hear you?
Oh, now we can.
Yeah.
It seems to be a lag of about...
Oh no.
Can't hear you. You can hear me and I can't hear you.
Okay.
It's-
I'm going to put some suggestions in the chat and then ask Tiffany to intro her channel and tell us her themes. While I pop her name up to go. That's all right.
Did you want me to go now?
Yeah. What's your channel about? Tell us the deep.
Well, I thought we were still working on the sound. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I am Tiffany, TLS Lifestyle on all the interwebs. As Margaret said, I have a YouTube channel where we stream every other Thursday, PJs and Scribbles. This year, we are doing one themed live stream and then one
mute and I've unmute
every month.
I increased and reconnected the audio. It is not working. I can see all smiling, but I can't hear what you're saying.
Okay. Anyone else have suggestions about?
Oh my God, I'm missing in this conversation.
Is it the headphones, maybe?
That could be it.
Put that in the chat. Okay. Bear with us, everybody. We've got a long distance connection being made that we're really trying to make happen here, but it keeps skipping out. So we'll see if that comes back again, and the headphones might be the thing.
Oh, I thought he was frozen, so I wasn't sure, and then it went to the little black screen.
Yeah. All right.
I also have a Kindle Vella called Come Find Her. It is a paranormal romance, slow burn romance. Starts off with a kidnapping, because apparently that's what I do. And we have supernatural beings trying to maybe unalive somebody, as well as others trying to maybe save someone. So it's a little action, a little romance, a little fun. So be sure to come check it out. Generally, new episodes go up on Sundays, but we've been having a few little moments here this month, but they should be back on schedule for next month.
Awesome.
Sounds really good.
Thank you.
All right, Peter. Let's see if without the headphones, can you hear us? Maybe not.
Oh no. Oh, is he frozen again?
He looks frozen on my end. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, let me just.
Where's Peter at?
I believe he's in Nigeria. Don't know the exact area.
Oh, yeah, that is a long distance connection.
Yeah. I had invited Deidre in as well, and she's in Canada, and she had storms that were threatening her Wi-Fi and power and all that as well. So apparently it's a winter concern. Not only freezing doors shut on your car, but also trapping you in Wi-Fi purgatory hell. It's just what I bet Peter's feeling right now. Okay, well, let's put a pause on that and see if he comes back or chats back that he's got it solved. But for the moment, let's ask some questions about books. So one of the introductory questions I wanted to ask you guys was about your, take your pick, favorite Black writer currently or newest author obsession, because we're all in the book reading space.
Do you want to go first, Tiffany?
Well, this isn't a new person, but I did just pick up their book, which is Lizelle Sansbury.
I was going to say the same thing. I was literally going to say the same thing.
You know, like I said, it's not a new obsession, but I just picked up the book, and you want to talk about like pick it up and then just like, no, No, I can't.
You could zap all your time and you're not going to be able to put it down.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so good. And recently, and I feel really bad because I feel bad on one hand, but on the other hand, it's one of the things that I really kind of enjoy is that I've just found some really good authors on Kindle Vella because I've been trying to read more in that platform since that's where my story is posted. And while some of them you can tell if they're, Black authors, others, because they haven't set up their author page or they haven't have it linked, you don't know. And so it's kind of interesting to just kind of read in that kind of world where you're just like, it could be anybody, but you're just enjoying their stories. And I do have to shout out one of my friends who's on there, Kimberly Wesley, I believe is how you say her last name. She has a number of different African American stories on there that are just absolutely wonderful, and she used to be one of my co-writers. So. I know she's good.
How do you spell the name?
You're gonna make me look it up. I believe it's spelled just like Wesley, but I know her as K Writes, and so that's why I'm like,
Okay, we'll put it in the chat if you want to find it and transplant.
So my turn. So for me, like new to me is Lizelle Samberry. I think I mentioned this before we started streaming, but one of the arcs that I got was Delicious Monsters, and I have been reading it and I have not been able to like stop thinking about it, and it's my current obsession because I'm just like, it's one of those books where I'm like, I'm reading it, I'm like, yo, this is so good. I don't even want to finish it because once I finish it, I'm done and I can't read it for the first time ever again, right? Yeah. So that's my current obsession. But favorite author, I would have to say like my go-to favorite is Elle Penelope. Like I love everything that she's ever written, and she's also on AuthorTube. She has her podcast, she uploads them. So definitely her. Also Amanda Ross, like she's my critique partner, but I was her fan before we were friends. Aww, yeah. And I love her Which Kind series, which is To Estera with Love, and then To Alaris in Desperation. And her most recent book, In the House of Transcendence, also just came out, and it's just like queer witchiness. There's a burlesque dancer. She's trying to solve a murder. She's a necromancer. It's just, there's so much goodness in it, and I absolutely love it. Love it so much.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are the ones that like jump to mind where I'm just like, I can recommend you these any day, anytime, whenever. Go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just to jump on the Lizelle Samberry bandwagon, I was walking down the street yesterday and was like, isn't there an app where you can put stuff out and it only goes to the people that you choose and they can all... I was like, no, that was in Blood Like Fate. That is not a real thing. That is in Lizelle's book. Like, I wish we had that. Oh, with all the archive stuff, and she had to go back and like find the recipe. Ah, that was such a cool moment. Okay, so Peter's back on, and he can hear us now, yes? So I'm gonna try to pop him up on the screen so we can say hello. All right. Welcome.
Hello.
Tell us about your channel.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to come on, and sorry about the internet interruption. I just hope it's still clear and fine. This is Nigeria's connection, which is sometimes can be horrible. So, yeah, that's it. So, the name of my channel is P English Literature, and thanks for bringing that up on the screen as I can see. And on there I review books and conduct interviews with authors from around the world. I'm more particularly interested in reading indie books, and I've had quite a lot of authors, close to around 50 so far.
Wow.
Interviewed.
Holy cow.
On my show. And I'm also an author working on a novel that would probably be published 2025, thereabout, or 2024, I don't know yet. It's a lot of, I only have 2 copies of my book here with me, and this is Whose Fault appeasement or impediment. There's a second one currently that I have. So I am just the normal bookish guy who love reading, and
Okay.
yeah, I'm just a bookish guy and an author of poetry, and also like just keep diversifying myself and trying to enlarge my coast as far as literature is concerned.
Excellent.
So
we've
that'll be
got-
a brief introduction
Thank you.
about myself.
Thank you, Peter. So
And thank you
that's impressive.
again, Margaret,
That's a lot of interviews to do.
for the
So
invitation. It's much appreciated.
of course. I'm gonna move into some of our interview questions that I gave the panel beforehand, and then start responding and flagging questions from the audience for later. So if you guys have questions for any of our authors, pop them in the chat. So BlackAuthortuber, different from AuthorTube. We get a lot of comments about AuthorTube and a lot of complaining usually, but there's like a whole other side. I want to hear what your opinions are. What was it like when you joined? What did you see? And how has it changed maybe? Like, what are your thoughts?
Are we going in a certain order, or are we just jumping in?
Let's start with Tiffany, and we'll go clockwise.
Okay.
Okay. I still felt kind of like a newbie. I think I maybe got into AuthorTube or BlackAuthortuber even like a year or two ago. So it still feels like I'm like the baby. So I don't necessarily know how it's changed. But I will say I never felt unwelcomed. Like I've always felt like from the minute I first like said hello in a chat till when I actually put my face on a screen, it was always just like very welcoming, very uplifting, very you can do it, we support you. I'm sure that's not always the case. Maybe I fell in with a good group. Shout out to all of y'all. But I will say, yeah, like since I first showed up, it's just been very welcoming and very open. Just like, come on in, grab a seat, hang out, we're fun.
All the fun. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes that's self-selecting. Like with TikTok, you get in TikTok and the videos you like take you to the people that you end up liking. Kind of same for YouTube. So there's good things about you, Tiffany. Yeah, what were your first thoughts? What do you feel like has changed till now?
First thoughts was like, oh my god, this is so cool. There are other people who write on the internet. This is amazing. That was my first thoughts. And then kind of getting into it, kind of like Tiffany said, I never felt like unwelcome. Like I enjoy being here, and there are so many cool people on the internet where you can meet and like feel like you really know them, and like these are your people, these are your friends, these are the people that you know and spend a lot of your time, if not most of your time, with, even if you've never seen the lower half of their body, because all you see is like the top up,
Right.
And I think over time, the only thing that has really changed for me is kind of like Tiffany said, like I went from just like being an observer to being like, oh, I'm like on screen and I have like my own channel and I have my own content and I'm interacting with different people who is now no longer just like I'm finding their content, but they're finding my content, which sends you down like a completely different rabbit hole. And it's just like you said, you kind of get to pick and choose. Like you curate your feed and you curate kind of like where you go and the things that you kind of normalize and the people you subscribe to. So I think it's changed in the sense of like at least for me, like I feel more confident. Like if I can jump on a stream for someone I've never seen before or interacted and be like, hey, hi, I'm here. I'm like sprinting with you guys, and then kind of feel comfortable talking in the chat. Whereas before I'd be like, I don't know about this. I don't know. And I don't know. I think for me, I like AuthorTube just because I feel like in general it's a little less dramatic than like book Twitter or book talk. I just kind of like the stability of being able to come here and feel like it's a safe space and we can just like write and talk about books and like move on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Peter, what do you think? You have a little lag, so I'm just letting you know. I'm going to let you say your whole answer so that we don't cross currents and interrupt. Tell us about what you thought of AuthorTube when you joined, specifically BlackAuthortuber. And I think you're more into the BookTube side with your interviews, so maybe that'll give us a little something.
Yeah, that's true. And sorry about the up and down of the network. Just have to bear with me. Yeah, I love AuthorTuber and I'm quite excited when I come on. You know, when I first discovered YouTube and I realized that there are some authors on YouTube who, go talk about their books, give suggestion and all of that. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. This is fun. And I think, this is something that more authors should do. More authors should, incorporate coming on YouTube and talk about their works, about their writing, about their processes. It was very fun to me, actually. And I was quite excited. One of the things that I found very amazing about it, okay, I don't know if my connection is still doing somehow. But one of the facts of the thing that I found very amazing about the AuthorTuber is the fact that it enables me to be able to connect with other authors alike, to be able to find poets like myself, to be able to find people that.
Oh no.
We got up to find other poets and people.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a good note. That's a good note.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was going so good too. It didn't even look like it
It's
was
like, I think
lagging.
we're gonna have to bunch them together and have him just talk at length. You're back. No more
Oh my
sound.
God! Sorry about the network. I'm very sorry about this.
Okay, we're there.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think I have to start all over again. Sorry about the interruption. The network is horrible from my side. So yes, what I love about AuthorTube is the fact that I was able to connect with quite a lot of people on YouTube. When I first discovered that there are certain authors on YouTube, oh wow, it's gone again. I don't know if you can hear me, if I can continue speaking. The thing is, oh my God.
Okay, I'm going to send him another chat message and put him in backstage so he can like recover. While I'm sending that chat, how about we move on to the next question about what would change? So if you've been here for a while and you appreciate certain things about AuthorTube, but you see things, areas for growth, as they might say in the corporate space, which I'm no longer a part of. What do you see happen, or do you see opportunities that are being missed, maybe between communities or genres or formats, whatever, that you think are ripe for development? Anyone can start.
I think for me, I would like to see more just like authenticity. And maybe it's just because I spend so much time on TikTok. I feel like sometimes the AuthorTube community, we have to be like the professional. Like I have to give you writing tips. I have to tell you how I do this and break everything down and like be like, I am the expert. And it's just like, sometimes we're at the very beginning of our journey and it's just like, I don't have tips to give you, or it's just like, this is a thing that comes naturally to me. I can't necessarily break it down and put it in words for you. And I think sometimes we kind of fall into that content creation trap where it's just like, this is what I need to do. So I kind of wish there was a little bit more authenticity and like, this is like my process, or even just like there how do I word this? I wish there was a little bit more like cross platform collaboration, I guess. So like how we're doing the panel right now, I know like a lot of us do sprints and we'll be in the chat, but I also love seeing people on screen together. So I kind of wish it was easier to do that. I know part of that is like YouTube and they don't make it easy for you to do it, but at the same time, I kind of wish that there was a little bit more just a little more collaboration, so it didn't feel so much like we're in our own little spaces on our channels, and then sometimes we interact, and it's more so like a community where it's just like, yeah, there's a space for us to like talk and touch base and write and kind of lean on each other as a like tighter knit community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I would piggyback a little bit on what Chelsea said, because for me, I think one of the spaces that are, and I say this in everything that I'm always in, what you do is not the only thing that you are. So we're not just writers, we're not just authors, we're not just editors, we're not just, publicists, like we are so many different things. And I would love if we, as a group, showed that and then just made it, like you were saying, like you don't have to show this is how I do this process. This, like, everything doesn't have to be about writing. It can be about, the crafts that you're involved in or the things that you enjoy or whatever, and just make it easy for that and make it a space where we can talk about being more than just writers. Because I know, like, if you think about I know, what was it, like at the end of Nano last year, everybody was just like, I just need some self-care. Like, it's just so much, type of conversation. If we just, I think, opened up that space to have it be more than just about the writing or the editing or the drafting or, like, how does everybody outline? How does everybody do this? But more just about like, how do you survive in a world being a creative person? And just make that a part of the conversation. I think that would help a lot.
Yeah. And I would, if I can also add, because you brought up NaNoWriMo, I kind of wish that not necessarily the go-ness of NaNoWriMo, but kind of like the consistency of like, we are consistently writing and we are consistently moving towards these goals. Sometimes I wish there was a way to have like, not necessarily accountability, but just kind of like, hey, we're all in this together. We're all moving towards the same goal, whether it be like I'm posting on Kindle Velo or I'm self-publishing or I'm trying to pursue traditional publishing, whatever it is. It's just kind of like, I kind of wish that sense of camaraderie that you get around Nano, where it's just like, everyone's like, yeah, I'm outlining, I'm getting ready to do this, I'm getting in those words. You can get in those words. Like the I don't know, the inner cheerleader comes out for other people. I kind of wish that energy was around all year long, because I feel like the other 11 months, it can very much be like, good luck.
Did you write something? Oh, well, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Right.
This is like a half-baked thought that's coming off of Tiffany's comment and the fact that she has lifestyle in her channel name. I feel like with smaller creators, we are more aware of the professional boundary and like trying to have that be the show so that we're taken seriously. But the people who are big, who have tens of thousands of followers on AuthorTube or BookTube or whatever, like, they go off into their vlogs, they go off into their van life, they go off and do those things where you're like, that's a whole person. They're allowed to show all themselves. Like, why can't we do that? Or why are we limiting ourselves to not doing that? So
yeah, there's someone that I follow. I absolutely love her. She gives really great Instagram tips. And I followed her for years, but from the months, I want to say, of like, it's either winter months or summer months. Like you mentioned, her and her husband, they just go off and live van life. And so she does tips about surviving van life and traveling and stuff like that. But her tips are like, how do you film Instagram content while you're on the road, like in a van, or like, how do you do this? And it's so interesting to me because I don't have a specific office space that I work in. And so watching her try to figure this out in like a little space, that's like this big, it's very exciting. So yeah, I think that that's, something we can take advantage of and do.
Absolutely. And kind of like the being whole. I think sometimes as writers we fall into that trap of, we only want to show that aspect because it's just like when we're not writing, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I'm just sitting here staring at the walls and thinking about not writing. Like it's just
There's a whole tip section with my name on it. Like,
and it's just resting. And I think part of it is we feel so guilty to just rest and be like, I didn't get 2,000 words today because my brain was tired. Or even being like the opposite, where it's like I had 2,000 words, but I got rid about 1,200 of them. So I actually kind of backtracked a little bit, but that's part of the process. Yeah. And I think we like to, I call it the Instagram trap or whatever, because Instagram encourages you to show only the best parts of yourself,
thing. Yeah.
Right. And it's just kind of like, I feel like YouTube can kind of pull us into that from Instagram, where it's just like, I just want to show you the part where I'm sitting at my keyboard and I'm clacking away and I'm super productive and I have my coffee and my tea and I have the aesthetic going and this is my whole life.
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Me either. I don't have a clue.
Okay. Let's bring.
You know what's funny though? Up until I started trying to do reels for my Kindle Vella, my best performing reel was a haul of like loose leaf tea that I bought. And I just like was sitting there one day and was like, hey, maybe I'll film this. And so I just filmed myself throwing packets of tea on a whiteboard. And it got, I want to say like 1 point something thousand views. It was like my best performing reel.
Is that discouraging because it's not like what you're on here to do?
No, it was discouraging in the sense I was like, how come I didn't get a tea sponsorship? How come they didn't?
That is a good dream. I like that. I was going to bring Peter back on, but his feed just went out. Hold on 1 second. We've got a couple good audience questions, so maybe I'll skip ahead to one of those. See if we can line one up. So we had Benjamin Lockhart. No relation? Or avid supporter of the panel. What's been the most challenging part of your writing journey? What did you do or are you doing to overcome it? Think about that for a second and I'll bring it back, but I'm going to give Peter a chance to answer what would you change about AuthorTube, or what could you see improving on AuthorTube, Peter? And we'll let you go for a bit and like try to get your all your answer in at once.
Hopefully my internet will allow me. Hopefully, yeah. What I would love to see change on BookTube is I would love to have more authors coming on BookTube. I would love to see more authors, even after self-publishing their works, create a YouTube channel to talk about their works, about their poetry, about their science fiction, whatsoever. And I think if we have quite a lot of authors doing this, it will expand and help the way with which we network and connect with one another, and it might even help us to grow as self-published author. I'm a self-published author. I don't know about every other person, and one of the things that we struggle mostly with is marketing, is getting our name out there. And I think that if we have quite a lot of author tools like that on YouTube, it would help us to build brands and find poet on YouTube, science fiction writer, find science fiction lovers on YouTube, and be able to network and work together. So that's one of those greatest improvement I would love to look out for as far as AuthorTube is concerned, and for Black authors also on YouTube, and for everyone actually generally. So I don't know if you have another question for me to go on before my network
Okay.
get me kicked out.
5 seconds of lag to go on. But what occurred to me as a follow-up is that there's this sort of awkward line that I, as an author, have to tread when I'm doing BookTube content, which is I have I have opinions about other books, and like that doesn't take away from other people having opinions on my books, but I can have feelings about those. I just shouldn't share them in reviewer spaces. You know, there's this sort of strange line to walk. Do you think having more authors in BookTube would be a like benefit? Like it would sort of change the boundaries in a good way, or how would you see that affecting it? And then we can maybe go around with that question. I'll leave it up.
I think, and I'm again, because I feel still like the newbie. To me, it always feels like AuthorTube seems to be centered to AuthorTube, not so much like it's focused on, hey, what would the reader like to see, or what would the reader want to know about in my world, or how can I attract a reader? It seems like it's almost like, how can we find other authors? So if it stays that way, then I think the boundary would still be there between the reader and the like reviewers, because we would be still just almost talking to the authors.
It's more of a co-working.
If we figured out a way to do it where we are bringing our readers into our channel and we are showing, you know, what it is they want to see, which, and again, I'm not 100% what everybody's reader would want to see. I'm not even positive what my reader would want to see. But I think it could go both ways. Like some people prefer being able to see into the world of the writer. You know, I have plenty of writers that I love that I enjoy following. And one of my favorites, I was like, oh my gosh, she posted some picture on Instagram and I was like, she knits too. I knit. We're like the same person. You know, except for she's got like 20 something books published. But I think that, you know, that just shows like that community, and it made me kind of almost more of her fan. So I think that would be an interesting, you know, conversation to get involved in.
I think this is such a nuanced question, because there's a part of me that's like, I kind of like that there is a boundary that exists between readers and writers, because you have different reasons for seeking out community, you know? And I feel like the AuthorTube community is just like, when I am an author, I am looking for other authors who will understand the struggle of like sitting here and you have a writer's block, or your characters aren't doing what you want to do, or I wrote a whole outline, but I can't follow the outline. Now I'm back to square zero, trying to figure out how this is going to go. Or I wrote a book and I want to self-publish it, but should I go with Ingram Spark or should I go with Amazon? You know, what was y'all's experience with it? I think that looking for community that's going to like be a community for that is very different from looking for a community where it's just like, hey, you guys, I wrote a book. My book is amazing and it's fantastic and I love it so much and I think you should buy it because reasons. You know, I feel like there is a huge difference between that. And I think as an author, like you said, Margaret, like I read books, I have opinions on those. And I feel like as an author, there's always this idea in the back of your mind that you don't want to give an opinion on a book that's less than savory and glowing, because you know how you would feel if someone gave your book a review that was less than savory and glowing. And it's just kind of like you run into this line of, do I be honest and just accept that I am approaching this as a reader, or do I like not cross that line? And I think for me, it's one of those things where it's like, I am not an author and a reader at the same time. When I'm an author, I'm working on my own stuff and I'm approaching it from the aspect of I'm looking at the craft of this book. I'm looking at it for like inspiration for my own things, versus when I'm a reader, I'm like, I'm reading to be entertained. Is this entertaining? Is this doing what it's supposed to do? And I think sometimes on the internet, people forget that authors were readers first before they decided to do this. But I also think that the division of spaces, I personally am not a fan when authors enter reader spaces because they're talking about their book and then they express their opinions, whether positive or negative, in a reader space, because I feel like that's not the place for that. Because as the author, I feel like the safe place for you to express your feelings is in your author space with your author friends who understand what you're going through, because when you do it in a reader space,
Slack chat, somewhere else.
Right, because when you do it in a reader space, you take away their community and you kind of disrupt that. Just like if a reader was to come in like to an author space and we're talking about the struggles of writing, and a reader's just like, well, you should just write it because that's what it is. It's not that difficult. Anybody can do it. It's like, first of all, I mean, you take several seats in the back because you don't know what you're talking about. And second of all, it doesn't work like that, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah.
I think if it's, because I do agree, I do feel like, and I'm coming at this not just as a writer, but also as a photographer. Like I'm in plenty of groups that are photographer groups, right? Mm-hmm. Like we talk about lenses and frames and crazy stuff that if I start going on, y'all be like, what? Like, it would almost be, my father and I had this conversation and I mentioned something about iOS because we were talking about Mac versus something. And my father's a photographer too. And he goes, you're trying to fool me. I know it's ISO. And I was like, I'm talking about something totally different. But the reverse would be, you know, like the same for the photography. But at the same time, I'm also in model groups and I'm in, you know, people who enjoy photography groups because that's where I find clients. Mm-hmm. And that's where I find people, or I find out what my clients are looking for, like what it is that they want. So I think I agree, writers shouldn't go into reader spaces, readers shouldn't go into writer spaces, but I do think that there is space to create both. And where you can interact with your client, your reader, your person, and give them access to you as someone that they can get to know better so that they appreciate your book better without bringing them into like, here, come to my live stream where we're talking about like how, you know, how many words we got in a 25-minute sprint. And you're going, what?
Yeah. And I 100% agree with that. I think what I was trying to say is just like, if you go into a reader space, you still have to navigate it as an author, if that's what you're doing. Because like you said, we do have to market our books. We do want to know if people are satisfied with our books. Sometimes everybody doesn't do reviews, but we do want to know sometimes, are you satisfied with this book, especially if we're writing a series, especially if we're working on our next book and we're trying to be like, okay, if this book that I wrote collectively got 3 stars from most everybody, and their biggest gripe with it was they didn't like the ending, then I know that for my next book, that's something that I need to tackle, you know? But I think the sketchiness, the line starts to get towed when we enter reader spaces saying that we are readers, but then we function as authors.
Oh, yeah.
Because that thing comes back at some point. Yeah.
It's like the wolf in sheep's clothing. If we're pretending to be a sheep and we're really a wolf, we're really disservicing everybody because they're going to be mad that you're a wolf and you're going to be mad that they don't see you as a sheep. Right. You know,
so it comes back to self-awareness, you know, like, are you taking off the hat? Really? Are you like checking yourself before you comment? Really? Like, yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, and I also think it's how much do you respect your reader? Yeah, because I like personally, I would just feel so guilty. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm over sneaking around in their little spot looking for stuff. What just happened? And then I go back and I'd be like, I feel bad.
See, for me, whenever I enter a reader space, I'm always like, hi, I'm CM Lockhart, and I write books. Like, hi, I'm an author. Right. Please don't mistake me for anything else.
Flag waving, right?
Please don't come over here and think I'm a regular. I'm not one of you. I am not. Okay, so I don't know if you guys watched Lion King, but in my mind, Lion King 2, he is not one of us. That just like popped into my head, and I needed y'all to know that. So
I know the first movie, like every line, but I have not seen any of the sequels. So now I feel like a failure.
You haven't seen Ovu? Oh my God. But Lion King 2, basically all you know is that Simba has a daughter, Scar has a son, and Scar's son tries to hit on Simba's daughter, and he's like, out of the Pride Lands with you, basically. And there's a fire song around it. It's the best song in the movie, personally. But
okay, but hold on. Wouldn't that still, and this may be my genealogy side coming through, but I'm like, wouldn't that make her them like second
first
cousins
cousins.
once removed or something like that.
Right? They're like second cousins.
Because all of a sudden there's a whole family thing coming in, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's happening?
It's a
They're lions. Don't think too much about it.
Monarchy, they do that.
Not in my Pride Land.
Who knows? Who knows? Okay, well, you got some fans of the movie there. Morgan and Esther are backing you up, Chelsea.
Look, it's an amazing movie.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely cousins. They're for sure cousins. And there's a moment where he's just like, we can run off and start a pride all our own. And I'm like, okay. This is a children's movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did not mean to derail us like that. I apologize.
One lion comes out with weird hair. I mean, I'm just saying.
Part of the common consciousness that we're pulling from to like show what we're feeling and trying to say. I get it. What about plans, hopes for the channel? So sometimes authors will get, I don't know, distracted with doing all the things for the channel and not sort of trace them back to the books. But maybe you've got separate goals. Maybe you've got related goals. Like, how are you perceiving of your AuthorTube channel as a thing and how it's serving your goal of being a writer and selling books and going off into the sunset?
Off into the sunset. I was actually just talking to my husband about this earlier, like yesterday, because one of the things that for 2023 that I've been, like I said, I've been working all January, is that I was like, you know what? I want to get consistent with my channel and I want to be consistent with the content that I'm creating and the content that I am posting. Mostly because for me, it all goes hand in hand. When I'm consistent with my YouTube channel, that means I'm consistent with my writing because all of the content on my channel is related to like my writing. So if I have content that I can create, that means I'm actually doing what I need to be doing. And it's like my own way of holding me accountable. So far, so good. Like I've been releasing my writing vlogs every other week like I want to. And I've also started doing like reading updates. So not like necessarily BookTube, but like talking about books from a writer aspect. Like this is the part of this book, like craft wise, that I noticed that I liked, didn't like, what I thought was done well, etc. And doing that has been keeping me accountable to like actually read and not just be like, oh, I can put this off because I can do 100 million other things right now. So that's been helping me. And then also bringing it back to like marketing my books. I'm hoping that it has the same kind of effect that it had for me on TikTok, which was like, as I was sharing my journey on TikTok, more people felt like they were invested, and that translated into them wanting to actually pick up my book and give it a try because they felt like they had been on the journey with me. So I'm hoping that my channel on AuthorTube kind of has that same effect, but we will see. Time will tell.
It feels like a different medium, right? This is why I'm so hesitant to do stuff on TikTok, because it's like I don't really understand what's gonna catch, and I feel it's weird, the abbreviated version versus this. But
I love TikTok so much, though.
Yeah, I know.
And for me, like YouTube I love YouTube too, but I feel like for me, at least, vlogging is just like putting a bunch of like little TikToks into like one longer video where I could talk about it without having to be like, hey, you guys, what's up? If you've never seen me before, my name is Chelsea and I write books about Black girls who aren't all that nice. And if you guys haven't seen me on TikTok, I say that for every single video at this point.
It's got a cadence, like a little like theme song at the beginning.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think YouTube is honestly the best of both worlds. Best of both worlds between TikTok and Instagram, in the sense of TikTok is 100% authentic and super fast, and Instagram is like your most put together self. I feel like YouTube is that nice medium where it's just like, this is me being authentic. Like I'm gonna wash my face before I turn on the camera, but also like this is me sitting here in my pajamas being real with you. Like this is how I write. This is what it looks like when I'm actually being productive. You know,
or whole person.
Whole person.
Love it. You know what's funny is you were like, this is me sitting here in my pajamas because this is how I write, and all I can think of is there's a reason it's called PJs and Scribbles.
Yeah.
For my channel, I kind of getting into that idea of the lifestyle that's part of my name is showing more of that, showing different things that I'm involved in, different things that I enjoy, and showing it in a way that maybe other writers can relate to or other readers can relate to, and different things like that. Like I want to get into showing everybody knows that I cook and I bake, and that's a huge thing. So I kind of have some ideas around that. I do have an idea of doing some reactionary videos to maybe some TV shows or movies from, character outline perspectives or stuff like that. So, as well as just showing like a legitimate creative day when you run two different businesses of you start off thinking you're going to write 3,000 words in a day. And then all of a sudden someone calls you and is like, can I get my pictures in 2 days? And you're like, sure. And then you're not writing 3,000 words in one day. So how you balance that, as well as like just balancing life in general with maybe you wake up and you have no energy to write or whatever it is.
I don't know if you can see this. This says balance. This is my reminder.
Exactly.
A nail head.
So I would love to just kind of work that in, as well as, again, you guys know I love Scrivener, I love Notion, and just showing, different ways that you can use that, not just to manage your writing life and your writing world, but also your newsletter or your social media or your kids' soccer games, whatever the case may be, like just figuring out how you can make it kind of come together for you.
Nice. It's an external sort of public showing of maybe what we're all trying to do internally, which is like coincide all these different parts of ourselves. I like that about the lifestyle hope. That's really cool. I was going to catch up in the chat. There was some more Lion King talk, but Nia did say on topic of the question here, as a writer, when I go into reading spaces, sometimes I want to be just a reader and not talk about writing. So yeah, back to like self-awareness. If you're one thing, be the one thing and make sure, you're representing rightly. And also when she doesn't have content, it's usually because work, 4 kids, hubs, and the pug.
That's fair.
This is another avid supporter of the channel. This is my mother. Hi, y'all. And exciting to see you guys in these interviews so I can get to know you a little bit and help me figure out what I might want to read. We talked a little bit about the beginning about your books that are being chosen for the Readathon in February. But that's why we want to make these books titles and authors, not just names and covers, but like have them catch on. Esther said, I washed my face for you, YouTube, but I'm not changing out of my pajamas. Fair. Yes. Really like this about YouTube, probably why it lasts. Bear popped in. Hello.
Hi, Barrett.
And Maggie. Mama Maggie, hello, welcome. So plans for the channel. I asked about a dream guest. If anyone pops into mind, feel free to mention the dream guest. And then an underhyped BlackAuthortuber channel we should shout out. So we heard about a few at the beginning that were like favorite authors, books we've read. Is there one that's like maybe we don't know that isn't on the spreadsheet that should be? And I'll pop it right on. I'm actually going to pop the spreadsheet link on here again.
The one that pops to mind is Bones to the Wind by Tatiana Obey.
Ooh.
It is a fantasy coming of age. It's new adult. And she actually won a couple of awards for like the best fight scene and best protagonist last year for the Black Indie Author Awards or the Black Author Awards or something like that. So would definitely recommend that. And of course, if anyone hasn't heard of Kimberly Lemming and her Mead Mishap series. The first one is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. The second one, she has a novella called Mistletoe, which is a short story. And then she has the second one is The Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. And I think her third book is coming out really soon. So, and her books got picked up for I want to say like an adaptation, like movie, and she's self-published. So she's doing, and the books are hilarious. The books are hilarious, y'all. So she also definitely pops to mind. And then also Antoine Bandelle's TJ Young and the Orishas series. I absolutely love that series too. Although he's pretty big at this point. I know his YouTube channel is huge because he does Avatar: The Last Airbender content. But those are the ones that popped in my mind that live rent free in my head.
Title name again, so I can grab a link.
Oh, for who? Which one?
The last one.
TJ Young and the Orishas. It's a series. It's a young adult Black fantasy series about a kid. He's born into like the super powerful magical family, and the first book follows him as he goes to like a remedial summer camp because his magic came when he was like 14, and most people get it when they're like single digits. So he's trying to go to this remedial camp to like deal with his powers so he can go to the magical high school that his sister went to.
Very cool. And I had seen that one before. I couldn't remember the name, but when you explained the plot, and I was like, oh yeah, get drunk and like, yeah. Yeah. All right. Putting some of those links in the chat here for everybody. Have you had any of those folks on as guests? Because you have like podcasts.
I have. So Antoine has been on twice. So for the first book, and he came on for the second book. It's on the podcast, which will be coming out this week, actually. So not this week, but next Wednesday, his episode for book 2 of his series will be airing on the podcast, the Written in Melanin podcast. Kimberly Lemming has also been on. And then I have not had a chance to have Tatiana on the show, but I do want to. I have her book on my Kindle, so I want to read it first. But like I said, I know as a person, as in like an author, she's really cool. So I'm looking forward to getting into her book and seeing what it's like, because I know a lot of people really like it. I just haven't heard a lot of people talking about it on the internet in general, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, but it is on the Melanin Library if you guys want to check it out. All the books that I mentioned. Sorry, that was an unattractive sound.
Passing right over it. Dream guest, Tiffany, or underrated shout out, underhyped shout out?
You know what's funny is that any guest I would come up with that I want to have on, mostly just because I think that we're so, again, like, there's so much more to writing than just writing.
The person who you just said, she knits. Who's that?
Well, I was like, they would be business people, or, you know, like people who, you know, do social media and do different things like that. Like I would love to have Sunny Listrom on, or what is her name? It's like Modern Millie or something Millie. Okay. But she does a lot of like Instagram and YouTube content and things like that. So those would be like my ideal people that I would love to have on. I think the people, and I don't know if they have YouTubes, but the readers that I was going to say, there's one, I almost feel like you would like them, Chelsea. It's called Failed Wishes. It is a Kindle novella, and it's basically like if Cinderella's sister, or not Cinderella's sister, but like the godmother's sister was like bad.
Okay.
And so it's like they're at the school and like everybody's kind of like just not great.
She said everyone's not great.
Absolutely hilarious. It's by Brittany Chanel, I think is the last name. And then there's another one, Love in Triangles. It's by PJ Lay. That's a Kindle novella as well. That's a kind of fun little read that's interesting, as well as and these are more mainstream, but if you haven't checked out any Black authors and you just want to kind of dip your toe into something, the Blackout and the Whiteout series, which is just like 6 or 7 different authors that they got together and they made a, you know, compilation of different stories. And there's like a lot of different authors in there. I think it's like pretty much the whole spectrum of humanity, as well as like you know, how they interact, and just a wonderful series to kind of introduce you to some new people that you may not have heard of.
Nice. Nice. So I was, just to let y'all know what's happening, I was trying to keep Peter in the backstage when his connection went out, and he would reset it and pop him up for a question, but he's not here anymore. So I think his just connection failed. So I was glad that he was here for a little bit and got to answer a few questions, but we'll try to figure that out next time he's on. But it was great to have him here for a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got the links in the chat. Next question I had was about, it was about reading excerpts. Let's see. Tiffany, did you feel like doing that, or do you want me to go on to Esther's question in the audience?
I can read an excerpt if you would like.
Okay. How about you bring that up so it's easy? Okay. We'll hit Esther's question after you go, and then I'm going to pop up the spreadsheet with the names just so people can see how easy it is to sign up to read a Black AuthorTuber's book in February. And that will be our little close, because I know we're over the hour here. So I want to respect people's time and end with a bang. So Tiffany, take it away. I'll make you big.
Oh, really?
Why not? We'll be here in the background cheering you on.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's a good thing I have Scrivener up so I can't see me. With a haggard breath and the sound of something cracking, I brought the phone close. I tapped the side, light blinding me as the screen came to life. The numbers blurry behind the moisture rushing to my eyes. I lifted my t-shirt to wipe at them, doing my best to see. Giving up, I lifted the phone. Call Gary, I said breathlessly, hoping it was enough. I let out a sigh when it started ringing. Ingram. The gruffness of his voice brought more tears to my eyes. Would I ever see him again? There were so many times he reached out, but I had blown him off, angry and hurt that he hadn't fought for me, that he had let Mom take me and then disappeared until it was too late. By the time he made an effort, I convinced myself that I didn't need him, built a wall to keep him from hurting me again. How I wished I had more time. He repeated our last name. Maybe I could take this last moment to end things correctly. Daddy? My voice sounded strange. I swallowed to get rid of the dryness in my throat. The taste of blood caused me to gag. Silence. It sounded as if he wasn't breathing. I was about to repeat myself when he replied, "What's wrong, baby girl?" The name touched the one spot in my heart not already broken over the loss of my mom. "I'm sorry," were the first words that came out. And I was sorry for so much. Sorry that I had cut him out. Sorry that we wouldn't have time to build a better relationship. Sorry this was the last time I would hear his voice. "Bailey, you have to speak up. I can barely hear you." "I can't. If I do, he might hear me." I wouldn't make that mistake again. Letting him hear my cries the first time had already cost 2 lives. My father was speaking, but the pain in my side surged back. My brain clouded up again. I had called him for a reason. Why, I couldn't remember. Why I called. It was something important. I opened my mouth, but rambling spilled out. My side screamed at me to lie back down. That sleep was more important than this call. Darkness stunned the edge of my vision, begging me to close my eyes. The floor creaked, and I remembered. He would be back soon. I needed to get to the point before it was too late. He came for me. I worked hard to fight through the desire to close my eyes. I don't know why. I was asleep, and then he was there. My head fell back. The burn caused my body to drip sweat. I felt my lips moving. Was I still talking? Did I tell him what he needed to know? Another sound. Was that inside or outside the house? Was my time up? I think he's coming. He's coming. He's coming. I finally let my eyes close. Maybe I could play dead, just let go and see what happens. Sadness combined with the hollow feeling in my lungs suggested I wouldn't have to pretend. Why fight? Death would be easier. "Bailey, you have to tell me where you are." The frantic sound of my father's voice gave me a reason. I wasn't completely alone. "Bailey, he's going to kill me." The reality of that thought set off hysterical laughter. Instantly, the sound turned to coughs, blood spurting out on my bed, pain tightening my lungs as I tried to calm myself. I didn't want to die, but there was no way that I could survive the suffering I was in. No way I could live through the night. Would my death make me like him? Perhaps that had been his plan all along. That made little sense, except he was different. How he moved, spoke, looked, the strength of his touch, the glow of his eyes. He was something else. I don't think he's human. Run, baby girl. I'm on my way. Just get out and I will find you. He still didn't get it. He'll find me. If I run, he'll find me. And he would kill my dad too. One more death on my hands. One more parent I couldn't save. It made no sense, but I knew he was at the door. He was waiting, listening. Had he known I would try to call for help? Was it already too late? Had I condemned my dad to the same fate as my mom? I love you, Daddy. I needed to make sure he knew. I needed to say the words. And so the door burst open, but my eyes stayed closed. I had done all I could. Let him do with me whatever he wanted. I was done. What are you doing, lovely? My lips were moving again. Was there sound this time? The only thing I heard was the slow of my heart as it pounded in my head. I was almost gone. I would be with Mom soon. A hand closed around mine and squeezed. More pain filled me, and I cried out, no longer caring if anyone heard me. We were all dead anyway. Don't fade on me now.
Wow.
Do like content warnings before we watch this. Starts with a bang and the novella, and we're ending the panel with a bang. How about that? All right. Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. That is Come Find Her, the Kindle novella. And the way that works is you have a certain number of
you get 3 episodes that you can read for free, and then after that it costs tokens or coins to read the rest. And there are 18 episodes up.
Nice. Nice. And we're getting back on a regular schedule soon, so expect more once you get to the end and are hooked. Yes. So we had one question from Esther that I thought would be good. What would you suggest to fellow writers to be more into the community interaction? How can we break from the safe, solitary space we carve ourselves?
Tip number 1, don't be an introvert.
Too late.
But I don't know. I feel like part of the reason we are solitary is because YouTube is not really designed for communication on the platform. So it's if you want a community, you have to build it outside of YouTube, which can create its own problem because a lot of us are not always the most technically savvy. So having to do social media plus newsletter plus website plus book plus YouTube, it's kind of I really don't want another platform that I need to be in charge of. But I think that's what it would take, especially since I know that at one point there was a doc of all the different streamers and channels and stuff that you could kind of click on, but then the person's channel who had it and was reposting them got taken down. So it's just kind of in order to prevent that, it would have to be outside of YouTube, and then somebody would have to be in charge of it, and then that comes with its own responsibilities that some of us, I personally, do not want to take on. So I don't know. I think it would take some group planning.
Yeah, Devin's channel was taken down, but the document still exists. I don't know if they're still updating it, but they had some help. So, multiple platforms. Tiffany, any thoughts on the carving out, getting out of our silos, connecting more? I mean, for me, what comes up is putting yourself out there to be rejected and just getting used to it, which I avoided doing every possible way in my writer life. So in the YouTube life, I'm it doesn't feel as high stakes. I can do this in the YouTube world, I don't know.
I think, I probably went to 4 or 5 different streams, maybe even more than that, 15, 20 streams before I ever said hello in anyone. And some of that was shyness. And some of that was also getting to know the people that were on the stream, reading the chats that people were putting in. And I think once you feel that safety and that comfortability in those chats and in those streams, it doesn't feel as nerve-wracking or it doesn't feel as scary. So if I were going to say anything, I don't think it's something that the person needs to do to come out of their shell. I think we just need to create those safe spaces so that people, when they come to the chats and when they do everything, I'm from a very religious family, and I just remember at church, when I was a kid, like one of the first things was, you know, asking all the guests, like, you're welcome if anybody wants to say anything, and people just standing up and be like, hey, maybe that's something that we need to look at, is, you know, just letting guests know we're excited when you come, or we want you to come, or something, so that they feel welcome to say something, or even if it's just, hello, I'm new, I'm scared, I'm lurking, you know, just letting them know that's great. Yeah. We appreciate that, and whenever you feel the need to jump in. I think that would really help a lot.
Yeah.
Good deal. Esther. So approachable, Esther. Yes.
I don't know.
Choosing Esther was a lot in that direction for sure. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to pop up a shared screen of the Readathon spreadsheet that y'all can sign up on. We've got all the authors from today in here, and we've got people doing reads. We've got people doing buddy reads. But yeah, shout out people. I was looking at this morning just to review and thinking to myself, oh, I've read theirs and I've read theirs and I've read theirs, and like feeling like really good about this. But you know, the sheet is much longer in reality, and I only have a tiny slice. So I need your help, all you guys out there. I will take Chelsea's and Tiffany's Kindle Vella and other books that were just mentioned that I grabbed the links for in the comments and popping them on as well. But if you have others that come to mind, feel free to add them. Let me get into the sheet here. I've got a sheet for last year with people's streams if you want to see how it actually worked. And then this year, just sort of like the clean sheet because no one's done anything yet. With the names, I'm excited to read Alexander Warren, although I'm reading In His Corner, which is like is it boxing featured? So I got that, and I'm like, you know, it helps to go out of your comfort zone every once in a while. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. We've got other buddy reads. Shannon, like last year, is the champ. Esty Houston doing 4 buddy reads this year. We've got Elle Penelope on there. I read her fantasy romance last year because it was also Faro February. So like fantasy romance readathon February. Oh, and I had put this up as a link and I forgot until now. So I have definitely signed on to participate in the Missy Elliott Readathon run by Shay and Britt. And basically they took one of Missy Elliott's albums and made a prompt for each song, and it's super fun. I'm not stressing about prompts for this Readathon. This is just sort of like boosting signal and getting people to read books. They got much more intricate and involved, and you know, kudos to them. So I do have lots of books on my shelf for that, but you know, these people aren't AuthorTubers, so we're going in many different directions and just supporting Black authors in general. But that is the hope. Amanda, let's see.
Oh, and Amanda has a channel as well. She's on AuthorTube now as well.
Yes. Oh, that's right, because I found her as a guest on your podcast or someone else.
Yeah, she's come on my channel quite a few times. She's dope. I love her. Yeah. Amanda the THEE author. That's her channel.
Do I have it on here? AuthorTuber. I thought I did.
I will.
Oh, I have an author name instead, so maybe I'll put the channel.
Yeah, that's her.
And then I forgot the capital. Typo queen. So I will get busy and put more on these when we finish. But as you can see, we're trying to get lots of different genres. Tiffany's had paranormal, just hinted at in the beginning there, as well as thriller. Chelsea's has gods and mythology and sci-fi fantasy elements, right? So like,
yes.
Yeah. Certain genres get more play on BookTube and AuthorTube, but we're trying to like, you know, cover every basis for every reader's need. So join us. I hope that was fun. And yeah, thank you guys for coming on the channel to help me kick off the Readathon. Very excited to read more books, see people read more books, see people shout out your books, and you know, hope it brings some joy to your lives. So that's Yeah.
Yeah.
All for today. Did you guys have any final thoughts, final things coming up for you guys? I always like to do like a coming up or next step on your channels if you got any plans you want to point people to.
I don't really have anything coming up per se. I do have another vlog releasing soon. I do have a book review coming up and another podcast episode dropping, but that's all regular stuff. And if you enjoy We Are the Origin, then book 2, We Are Dying Gods, is coming out in August of this year. So yeah.
Yay.
Awesome. Check out my Kindle Bella. Come find her. And then Saturday, we are doing Saturday shorts. This year, we're going to be doing short story Saturdays where we're getting together and writing short stories during sprints. And as always, PJs and scribbles on Thursday.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll let Esther's words take us out. Thank you, Tiff and Chelsea, for the fantastic insight and book recs. And thank you, Peter in absentia, for coming on, talking to us a little about his AuthorTube experience. Thanks for joining. Like the stream. See you soon talking about your Black AuthorTuber favorites. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon.